Hello and welcome back to Game 4 of the third matchup for the quarterfinals of the NASPA Tournament of Champions presented by Scrabble GO. You see Josh twiddling his fingers a bit excitedly because we have a non-sweep this time. It is 2-1 for César del Solar over Jackson Smiley. Josh, what are you going to be looking for in this next game?
Oh man, I don't know. I'm just so excited. This is going to be a really cool game. I can feel it.
So César picked up 5 vowels. We saw Jackson last game start off vowel heavy. Hopefully he doesn't run into a similar problem that Jackson did last game. It looks like he's avoided a bit better after exchanging to start.
He's going to bingo next turn.
Yeah, we will see. I mean, distills I see as an option. What else are you seeing there, Josh?
I'm seeing sialids. SIALIDS, but yeah, distills is a more common word. Ooh, all right, not enough O's. I know, he has 3 O's, but I'm saying not enough O's because if he had a 4th O, he could play hoopoo, which is a really fun word. Just for a 4-O word. Those are some of the words you learn because if you're in big trouble, that might save you the game.
So, since he doesn't have that 4th O, Josh, what objectives are you trying to do here? How do you kind of start this game and get it to be favorable for the remaining tiles you have?
Well, once I stop lamenting about not being able to play hoopoo, I'd be looking for ways to play off at least 2 of those O's and score a decent amount. Barring that, I might exchange, but it looks like it's good enough to play hoop or POOH, or just OOH. Interesting idea. It's a more balanced rack leave. We talk a lot about leaves. It's the letters you keep on your rack, but 6 fewer points. So he's putting the P on oo for poo, and he might, yeah, that's what he decides to do. He decides it's worth the 6 points. Keep the more vowel heavy rack leave.
César has a few different bingo options, so we will see.
Interestingly, Poo does take an S for poos. So that's probably, yeah, that looks like what César is going for. He had all the time in the world to think about this play. But he's just going to check to see if there's a... Oh, he's actually... Yeah, he sees both of the things that we mentioned. So distills, sialids, both of the 7-letter words we mentioned. He wants to see which one scores the best. I think he's going to switch back to distills, though. And Jackson will be able to come right back.
Yeah, and interesting. It looks like he might now be opting for a different placement of distills. Which spot do you prefer, Josh? The distills he played at first, extending all the way to the 2nd column, or the distills that he's now lining up?
I think I like this one because it puts an L in that that double vertical column there. We were mentioning double doubles, triple triples. This is the way to multiply the bonus squares. If Jackson is able to play 6 or 7 tiles in the right order, he can just score 4 times the value of his word. So I would actually opt for the other placement, not the one currently on the board, because I think there are more words that like end in ATE or just have the T in that late position than the L.
Yeah, so we will see if it will impact the results here. But it looks like in this case, as Josh was alluding to, that double hitting 2 double word scores is going to come down for Jackson with antidote. So that will give
a little
Jackson
foreshadowing.
Yeah.
That's a really great find. He finds it really fast. He takes the lead, so it's looking decent for Jackson so far. And yeah, if he had played the other distills, I mean, hindsight is 20/20, as we say. Only delation would have been possible through that L, which does not hit both of the double words.
Yeah, so it definitely could be a key factor for this game, and it's exactly what Jackson needs, being down 2-1. Those are the kinds of breaks that could give him a chance back in this. So meanwhile, César picked up a lot of hefty tiles. If I'm him right now, I would probably try to get rid of the Q, or at least get rid of the V and the B this turn.
Yeah. He's just trying to see if there might be a Q play with that A. The Q is obviously the worst tile in Scrabble, especially when you don't have a U to go with it, but sometimes it's worth keeping it for that extra turn, hoping something will open up for you. Right now, the only way he can really play his Q off is for 21 points with the I, and distills that really useful word QI that we all know and love or hate, depending. But yeah, Brava is what he was considering through the A and antidote. He can maximize his score with verb and BA with that same A, hitting the double word 2 ways. And I think that's probably the play here.
Yeah, so normally the E is the best vowel in the bag, but when you're holding a Q, the E often isn't the best vowel. I mean, the U is obviously the best with the Q, but then an I or an A makes a 2-letter word with the I for QI, and a 3-letter word with QAT with the A. So verb versus Brava, normally you'd think the A is a much worse tile than the E. When you're holding a Q, though, I sometimes actually even prefer keeping the A over the E.
Absolutely. I totally agree. QAT is almost not nearly as useful as QI. I was going to say almost, but it's I think the second most useful Q without U word. If he decides to play QI for 21, you might be thinking, what is he going to do next? I mean, he still has verb if Jackson doesn't block that A. And in terms of maybe getting a bingo, oftentimes when you're thinking of just playing off a Q, you look at the 6 tiles you have left, see, oh, is there a possibility that I get a bingo next turn? If there is, there's a lot more to be said about making this play. Now, the only thing that would have been able to happen after QI is if César drew into an 8-letter word. There are no 7-letter words. If he drew a C, he would have the crazy word vambrace through that A in antidote. And other than that, he could get verbatim or ambivert, but those don't seem at all likely. So it's a good thing he didn't play the QI, I think. I think that's the right decision, but I would have played verb for 8 more points.
Yeah, that was a great analysis. And Jackson is holding the J, which he could potentially use now. What would you be thinking here with the J, Josh?
The J, just like the Q, is a letter that might be able to score some points, but most likely you just want to play it off because it's really not good for getting a bingo down. So I'd be looking at ways to play off my J, score some points, and keep a very nice leave. I'm seeing JAM through the A in Brava. It looks like Jackson's just looking at the remaining tiles to see how often I think he hits a 7-letter word. As I was talking about playing off QI, these players, whenever they consider playing off one tile, they're looking at their 6 remaining tiles. And they're looking to see what can I draw. I don't. He was considering just playing off his J with the with JO. If you guys can see the board in your heads, like some of us can, JO would have scored 17 points with the O and POH, and he's just considering whether or not it's worth the sacrifice off playing just jam for 24 points. And it looks like he's going for it, maybe. It's a very, very interesting decision.
Yeah, it is interesting, especially because playing the J there actually limits bingos a lot there with the letters he's keeping. The most common way to use that spot on that part of the board is to make PE and OS. So but JO doesn't take an S back hook, so he can't use that in the same way next turn, potentially.
Absolutely.
César had a similar idea to plop down the Q this turn. 1 tile. He's holding pretty good bingo letters. It's a pretty good strategy, especially because once you see your opponent playing like that and the board doesn't have a lot of bingo lanes, you don't want to give them that opportunity. You see Jackson's strategy, you can't give him the bingo.
I have to interrupt you.
Sorry.
I really have to interrupt you. Jackson drew an I, which is the best tile probably he could have drawn, because he now has he now has Limbius through the B. If you drew an A, he
Oh
would
my
have
God.
Lambius through the B. So now that's probably one of the things he was considering. Not only how often do I draw a 7-letter word, but how often do I draw a word through the B in Brava that will hit 2 triple triples. So we'll see if César decides to block. Playing playing JO like that actually does signal that there might be something to be a little bit worried about. So we're seeing César considering blocking that, and if he does, that would be very, very incredible.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for interrupting me there. If you see any triple triples that could be played, always interrupt your other commentator. It's just a rule that you have to abide by when you're commentating Scrabble.
Speaking of commentators, Matt in the chat points out not only Limbius, not only Lambius, Timbrels and Nimblest, if you draw an R or an N, would have fit. So Jackson saw I can draw one of the 6 eyes that remain, or one of the 5 eyes that remain, excuse me. I can draw one of the 7 A's that remain, and I can draw the R, I can draw the N. There's still many of those to come, so decent chance. Obviously, often enough, your opponent's going to block, but quite a great decision by Jackson, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing that César is able to separate out wanting to get rid of the Q with doing the thing that has to be the right objective this turn. After Joe, Jackson sort of closed down the easiest spot on the board for bingos. So if César thinks Jackson's going for bingos, he has to shut down that B and R right away. So I'm actually somewhat surprised that he's considering Burme over Mend here, just because that would not do as good a job blocking all those lanes. And actually, if he does lens here, yeah, he takes that back. But I think if you are going for the block, you should go for the block full out. Play emend, make it really hard to get any of those 8-letter bingos for the B, R, or A.
Yeah, he probably was looking at lens because he thought he might have lens men, but that would require a second N. Lens men would have overlapped tons of things. Now he plays QI. Oh my god, this is it. Jackson's gonna play Limbius extremely fast, and you're gonna see what the reaction is from the players. Jackson is just chilling. I mean, I would be freaking out, but he's just gonna play it, and we're gonna see how César reacts. Just have a look. No offense to César, obviously, but yeah, we'll see how he reacts to this. I'm just gonna take a look. Okay, nothing yet. This is a delayed reaction. Okay, maybe it was maybe it was too much to hope for a really animated reaction by César. But that's amazing. Yeah. Jackson, this is just what Jackson needed to get back into this this series. Now it's going to be super hard for César to claw his way back.
Yeah, so this is a really incredible sequence. So Jackson got a bit lucky with Antidote in the double-double spot. Now he increased both those double-doubles to 2 triples. Getting a double-double and a triple-triple within the first few turns is really hard to come back. It's a devastating blow for César. Luckily, he has a lead 2-1, so even if Jackson can hold on to this lead here, we will see a game 5. But yeah, those are the kind of tempo things that are really hard to get back if your opponent just has the right things at the right time.
And I can just say this for a fact, like, this has been so exciting. César's disconnected 9-letter word of contemned, even suggested by Mina, his wife, already, like, before he even played it. It's just that was an amazing play. Then Ren Minbi, excuse me, it's so hard to pronounce that. And then Jackson's only winning play of Haint in game 1, and now double, triple heaven.
And I really like this idea from César. He's now going to start to open up the other side of the board. There haven't been any plays on the right half yet, so there are 7 open columns of the board completely. That could allow him to get multiple bingos in the next few turns, which is what he needs to do to come back from a triple like that, which is essentially like 2 bingos at once and score.
Absolutely. And Jackson, on the other hand, he's going to be looking to restrict that space. The first play, recommended by Quackle, Fard, plays with antidoted, and that does a great job of restricting the bottom part of the board, getting rid of those pesky hooks on the word antidote, and it creates this sort of right angle thing. That and also Grand, which is 2 more points. Grand and Fard are both great ideas here. You see that right angle that the play is going to create, which is really good for board restriction. And these players know that very, very well. So on the one hand, Jackson is going to be looking to restrict space. César is going to be looking to maintain it. So we'll see what he does next.
Yeah, and if you're Jackson here, when you're up by this kind of lead, often the deciding factor between 2 plays like that is which one plays off an extra tile. Just because when you have a big cushion like this, if there are 2 pretty close plays, it's often easier to win a game when the game has fewer turns. So if you can add 1 extra tile for every turn, that might speed up the game by a turn or 2, which in these sorts of games, in the worst case scenarios, if César comes back, that turn could really count.
Exactly. All right, so César doesn't have the greatest of racks. There's some nice tiles there, but there's nothing he can really do to score with them or bingo with them. I'd like to see some suggestions here because I'm not really seeing anything for César. If we could have that those plays by our producer here, that would be quite useful. Yeah, look, as you can see, in the bottom right hand, those are the suggested plays right now for César, and they're not good. They don't do much, they don't score much, and that's all I can say. There's really not much for him to do here.
Yeah, it's a really tough position. It looks like he's going to try to place the C in an area that it can start for 8-letter words. Oh, it looks like he's now switching that out and thinking about other options. But it definitely could be worth it to do something like local here, just because that actually doesn't really block that many lanes at the top. If you put local after limmiest, you are just putting an L 2 spots away from the other L. So that's basically the same bingo. And then there, I think, are more words that start with O's than start with I's. So local looked good to me, but he goes with call instead. He maybe wanted that extra vowel.
Yeah,
but it was a tough position.
I was actually considering just playing hell for 7 points off the HE in
interesting.
Because that sets up the O for hello, and keeps probably the most bingo prone leave. Bingo proneness is how likely you are to play a bingo next turn. It isn't without risk, but César was probably wanting to bingo as soon as possible. That was probably his best bet there, but he's playing a bit more conservatively, and I don't blame him. He's just biding his time. Hopefully he'll get something in the near future, but right now it's not looking good. Yeah, now Jackson has some scoring tiles. I think the first thing he's going to see is that he can put that Y on the word Joe for Joey, which is a baby kangaroo, and also a member of the YouTube chat, I think.
Yeah.
And yeah, Ivy fits there. It's decent score. It's not amazing because it takes a T hook for Tivy, but it's going to score as best as he can. And I think unless he's really, really going for the restriction, as you can see, he's wow. The second play there is actually pretty amazing. Why do you think Jackson chose that play, Morris?
Yeah, I think when you have this sort of lead, you have to start thinking about worst case scenarios. The L is the highest point bingo lane available left from Jackson's point of view. And if he played something like Ivy, Joey pluralized would be another really high point bingo lane. So it really limits César's options to get back in the game by playing something like 4, and he has the Y for this turn if he really wants to use it.
Yeah, he keeps Ivy. He keeps Ivy in his back pocket. So I honestly I stand corrected. I didn't even see that play. I mean, it was the second suggested play. I would have just gone ahead with Ivy maybe and failed to deal with the biggest threat on the board. So I think 4 was just a play that says, I think I'm winning this game. You're going to have to pull off a miracle comeback, César.
And I like what he did in return to play Egger. That just allows the same sort of thing. Jackson has to block that part of the board if he thinks that's the most dangerous bingo lane all of a sudden. He can't do that really with that turn. So César had some ability now to possibly keep that R lane open, keep the S lane off of Joey's open. So there are some outside shots he can get. He needs to start thinking about what are some reasonable ways for me to get back in this soon. And I think this idea of Gen is a pretty good idea. The letters A, C, E, and O have definitely a lot of bingo possibilities, especially paired with that R off of Egger. Josh, what do you think about this?
Yeah, he's basically in a worse position than when he played Call. He's behind by more. The board is more restricted, and things are getting really dire. Play like Gen might be the best he can do. He might also be considering, well, Jackson tripled. Maybe down the line, I can open up that triple and catch Jackson with some bad tiles, like playing something like Canon, Canon, and IN might be on my radar.
Yeah, so he plops down Gen, doesn't pick up the tiles he kind of wanted there. And if you're Jackson now, this is kind of just continue scoring. Don't do anything stupid, essentially. If you have this large a lead, just keep things tight and you should be fine, from his point of view at least.
And this seems like an innocent play, Hugh. But what that does is pretty remarkable. As we were talking about triples. I mean, Jackson got a triple this game. César would really love a triple to come back. The play of Hugh prevents that top right triple from ever being opened. It puts the H right below the lane, and it prevents César from ever trying something there. So it does look innocent, but these are the little things, like I keep saying, little things that these top players understand about the game. And if you're looking to improve, you can always visit the website that we keep plugging. Let me see what it is.
Scrabble.zone/info.
Thank you. You got to it before me.
Yeah. If you commentate enough nights, you will remember that link. Just like if you watch enough nights and like this content, you should remember that link. So César wastes no time, plops down Chewy. Really the right idea here. He's going to need that sort of big play plus 2 bingos now to come back. So get one of those 3 things and hope for the other 2 in the next 2 turns. And he did actually draw some good letters, so maybe he can get towards that.
There are some jokes to be made here. The CEO of NASPA, John Chu, is definitely a Chewy person. I can't do an impression of our favorite Star Wars character, but that's another joke that I could have made that I didn't make. So yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to make the jokes. We're just going to point out all the potential jokes.
I think Sean Abassi can make the jokes. I think we're good. We're good with that. He's been killing it in chat. All of you have been killing it in chat. Really appreciate everyone's input. Wonder what's going on here.
I love all these attempts. Jackson sees, or not Jackson, excuse me.
I see what he's doing now. I see what he's doing.
Sees out earn on his rack, but there is no place to play it. So he tried Anno, he tried Ido, he tried Antidote Dough, all of the possibilities, and he realizes he can't play it.
It's very sad for César.
Yeah.
Hey, let's I think it's already that time. We can get some F's in the chat. F. I don't know if anyone gets that reference, but if you do, it just means sorry, like too bad, you lose.
Got it. Well, in the meantime, while he is figuring out how to groom his rack being down 165, remember, if you want to get Scrabble Go on your phone, just use the QR code at the bottom of the screen. Just scan your phone, and the downloadable version of Scrabble Go should be right there on your phone. This tournament is brought to you by NASPA, the North American Scrabble Players Association. If you want to learn to play like these players, or us, the commentators, join the organization, and hopefully after pandemic, you'll be able to play a lot of cool events coming up.
I really love what César just did. He has his U, the worst tile on his rack, and he's just putting it. Scrabble GO lets you just hover your tile above the board. He's just looking for a spot to put it. He finally finds the best spot for it, Gen U and NU. And yeah, that's probably as best as he can do here. Get rid of his worst tile up to bingo this turn.
Yeah, and Jackson has the blank now for a second turn and didn't draw the letters he needed to get a good bingo, so he's just going to play off the F and the W. Wife looks like a perfectly reasonable play to me. He is in good shape to win this game at this point and doesn't want to spend too much mental energy knowing that we will likely go to a game 5.
Mm-hmm. And César, does he have something? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't see anything right away. If you see something in the chat, feel free to point it out. But he's also wasting no time playing ante, maybe even trying Anter, I guess. But yeah, if I'm César at this point, I just don't want to waste too much brain power here. I know that Jackson is up so much with not enough tiles left in the bag or not enough space on the board, really, that I just want to get this game over with and focus my mental energy on the next game. Although he does make a really cool play when you're down by this much. Opening up that triple lane for a bingo is a cool idea.
He's still fighting. Jackson might just drop his X, Rex and EX. Yeah.
So we want to ask the chat, do you guys see any 8-letter words with Jackson's rack?
Oh, he just played his X, but his rack was KNOSX blank.
It was not playable to be clear, but there was one 8-letter word with those letters.
Someone found it. Muskoxen. Beautiful, beautiful.
Nice job.
The plural of muskox. Nice job. Tar-heeled fish. Beautiful, beautiful find. Yeah, it's just one of those crazy words that you just really hope to be able to play one day.
Yeah, and so I actually forget, is wifer a word or no? I forget the back hooks to wife.
No,
I know wifey, wife, wife's. It's not good.
Wiver is good, but not wifer.
Oh, wifer. That's the word I'm thinking of. Yeah. So then outring is not a possibility here, which is a shame. It would have been nice for César to have gotten that bingo and break 300 points.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, this is really just at this point making plays. The first game was incredibly close and exciting. The next 2 games really went César's way. Now it's Jackson's turn to put the beat down. The obviously not literal beat down on César. They're good friends, if not just rivals. They're still good friends. And César's time is running low. He's gonna have to make a play soon. He might go over time. It doesn't really matter. When you go over time in Scrabble, every minute you lose 10 points. In tournament play, if you go over by 10 minutes, normally you just lose the game on the spot because it just takes too long. But I think César is gonna have some sympathy for the viewership at this point, and he's not gonna put us through that. Does anyone see a possibility for Jackson? Let me see the chat. He has decent tiles. I don't know. Okay, so
yeah, I always want to think outsync is a word, but I don't think it is. So I won't suggest that. I guess I sort of did though, so I shouldn't have even said anything. But it looks like César has played Fug, and Jackson is.
Oh, I see. Very nice.
What's he trying?
Trying like Zinkus.
Zinkus. Wow, that's such a cool idea. Man, so Zinkus, I believe with a C rather than a K, is a valid word.
Yeah.
So it's a really noble effort. It might even be good with a CK. I'm not sure of that.
No,
but
it is
okay.
not. But he doesn't even have any bingos here. The top suggestion is oink and go, but that would open a triple, and there might be time for César to get a huge triple and get back to the game. So you never want to make that sort of play unless you're toying with your opponent, which Jackson is not. He knows his opponent is a very strong player. From the 10 losses in a row in tournaments, or 9 losses in a row. He knows that César at least has his number and is also an extremely strong player, and he could easily get a triple there.
Yeah, so another good idea by César. He doesn't have the S, and he assumes after a play like Gunk, Jackson would be holding that. So he blocks that lane, but also creates a lane that's more favorable for his own letters.
Jackson quickly is considering Oka, maybe OI and Oka. He's close himself to a bingo. Probably seeing if there's, once again, that one tile play. He's looking at all the possibilities to see if he's going to draw something in 2 spots. It's also useful to block some of the hooks on KA, because Oka only takes an S hook. Oka's KA takes many more. What is it? B, E. I'm not going to go through all of them, but tons of them.
Yeah, so if we could look at the tile bag, actually, that would be good to just see what Jackson might be considering here. So the B, yeah, for abiosis could definitely be a possibility in a lot of different spots on this board. I guess the N for Sinopia or the P for Sinopia could come down off of the TE spot that César created a few turns ago. So this definitely does give him a few options, but I think he's going to elect for OI, which gives him more bingo possibilities.
Perfect sense. He's really trying to win by as much as possible to give himself the confidence he needs for the final showdown. We're going to have a game 5, folks. Yeah, César is just going to go with anything, honestly. He still doesn't have a bingo. And he's probably realized that Jackson must be close to one himself. Probably not much he can do about it. He might just play off the AT as he's doing right now, keeping a very good lead. Let's see what happens. So, oof, TN draw, not what you want to see.
Yeah, not fun with that rack. But entrant is a word, right? So he has that.
Oh, true. Wait, does he? Yeah, entrant. Wow.
Yes, he's entrant. So he could play that off of TE if Jackson doesn't have a bingo here.
This is sad. Jackson sees sailboat. That's gonna block.
Well, he's going for even more points. Oh, it's the same amount of points actually for Abrosia.
Or Abomasi.
Oh, is he doing Abomasi? Nice.
Yeah. Does that block entrant? I think it also blocks entrant. Yeah, I think everything blocks entrant, which is just a really sad finish for César. He did finally draw a bingo.
600 with ZP as his final 2 letters. Actually,
he's not even going to be close to that. Well, actually, César looks like he's just going to give him a spot for it, because really at this point it doesn't matter. Oh no, that doesn't even fit. I thought he could play Zep through the E.
Yeah, he might be Z stuck here.
Yeah.
Oh no, there's an A for Abomasi. Okay.
Yeah, but if César blocked that A, Jackson wouldn't have been able to play his P. But that's doesn't matter here really. We're going to a game 5, and this point differential does not matter one bit. So they're just ending the game here, and what an exciting game 4. Not really. It was very one-sided. But game 5 is going to be just as exciting. César goes overtime. He loses 10 points. And I wonder if we're going to take it off. We get our word from our producer to see if he's going to lose 10 more points.
So we just got word from our producer, Will Anderson, that César is being deducted 10 points. Doesn't really matter, though. Jackson ties up the score 2-2, which means we're going to a game 5, exactly what we want after seeing 2 sweeps the last 2 days.